Meteorologist Robert Spenny here with you on the 26th of February 2014. And what you can see here on the screen is we do have a few areas of interest. A tropical depression developing southeast of Guam, plus a frontal boundary moving out of eastern China, bringing some showers to western Japan here on your Wednesday and eventually going through Thursday. Before I dive into this, though, I do want to quickly mention, because there's a lot of information flying around the internet as of late, and it does look like a lot of broadcast meteorologists were getting together and fighting back against social media platforms that are unqualified or do not cite credible sources. Specifically in the United States, there's one which has been putting a lot of fear out there about tornado warnings, and furthermore, here into the Western Pacific, there's one in the Philippines which sometimes puts out false warnings saying pre-typhoon or pre-super typhoon when it ends up just being a tropical depression, and that's nearly 2 weeks in advance. Causes fear. Official agencies have had to put out warnings on these people saying that if they're not a credible source. I do want to clarify that WesternPacificWeather.com is not one of these false agencies. Actually, we're a group of meteorologists who have gotten together and we basically just like to geek out. If you want to watch me at a TV source, Vice, the internet, you can check me out on NHK World 20 minutes after the hour every evening. See this box there in the top right? If you just go there and you click that, it'll go ahead and stream live. Anybody anywhere in the world can watch it. Plus, it's mainly on cable, about 280 million households. Just want to put that out there because there is not just the problem here in the Western Pacific, but other parts of the world. It looks like this is just becoming more and more of a thing. So I like to do these YouTube updates, and the Facebook, a little bit more personable interaction with those of you out there. So yeah, let's get to that interaction and talk about the weather out here. I know if you didn't want to hear that, I apologize. Let's get right into this. And our tropical, well, it's a tropical low right now as of making this here on Wednesday, but already bringing some showers to parts of Guam. We can pull up the radar out of Guam courtesy of Weather Underground, and what we can see right here as well, some showers coming on shore over the last couple of hours. Some of these bands coming in from east to west, very distinctive of a tropical system developing at this time. The JTWC, or the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, has the area as a medium risk of development. Also an area down towards Fiji as a medium. But check out our partners at Cyclone Chasers. They have more details on that. And really, I'll get a little bit more into that in a second, because it's not just this, but another area in the Coral Sea may very well be developing. But first, our medium area here. Also, the Japan Meteorological Agency still expects in the next 48 hours for this to become a tropical depression. I think it's less, very well possible. And as far as WesternPacificWeather.com, still expecting a moderate risk. And what we mean by that is it's not 100% if this is going to become a named storm system yet, but we're fairly confident that at least a tropical depression. It needs to become a tropical storm if it's outside of the Philippine area responsibility for international names for it to become a named storm system. So right now, though, where is this going to be going? Well, let's first take a look at the streamline analysis, and I like to use this graphic because it just shows you the overall background flow, and it gives you a general idea of the setup. Before we look at models, you want to always see what's going on this very instant, and what is the flow you're looking at. Well, if we look at this, we have a high pressure off there towards the northwest, and that's just towards the east of the Philippines. And for those of you in the Philippines who have been commenting, saying, well, it's a northeast monsoon, why doesn't this just follow those wind patterns? Well, what's really happening, though, you see that strong upper level trough off here towards the north, and a little break in the high here towards the west, and the high there towards the east. This is going to act kind of a funnel, and it's just going to allow it to draw there towards the northeast and not off there towards the west. Now, if there was not this gap here, yes, you would be correct in saying that this would linger and push west. And if that gap was to fill up, which model outlooks and basically most outlooks do not indicate right now, but it's possible, then it could drift west. Right now, though, I don't think that is going to be happening, and really it's just going to stay on that course. So you can see off here towards the right, much of those winds are moving in from the northeast towards the southwest, but it should just drift north in the eastern periphery of that high pressure area. Now, there's what most of your models are actually saying at this time. Fairly high confidence of this lingering south of Guam and pulling off there towards the north, not even remotely close to Yap, Palau, or the Philippines. Now, this is going to be a big rainmaker, and I think that is one of the major problems with it. And one other thing, though, is that if it does linger there for some period of time, it's also lacking in the vertical wind shear, and you can see that off here towards the north. These areas in purples, that's that vertical wind shear, and if that ridge does put in place, it will allow it to intensify as well. So with that said, let's take a look at a few of the model outlooks here. And of this first one, this is a nav gem, and what you were just seeing there was the GFS a second ago with that shear that shear forecast. And this one keeps it relatively weak. But the key thing to keep in mind, though, is that those showers continue to linger over Yap and Palau, not Yap and Palau, Guam and Saipan. Getting my Micronesian islands messed up here. And that's going to bring some fairly heavy rainfall. Compare that up with our GFS model outlook, and very similar outcome here, and just brings those heavy showers. And it does continue to linger over the next several days. And if you get that, you get the persistent lingering as far as that precipitation outlook, that is where you're going to be getting the problem of flooding. And I think that is going to be one of the major cases here. It's not so much the risk of winds with this storm system, and it very well could be some winds. And if we zoom in on that GFS model outlook, we can see right here, this is the forecast for Monday with that GFS run, and it is showing some typhoon strength winds across Guam. Now, this is by far the most aggressive, because if we just click on the ECMWF, they drop it off as far as the intensity. It's much, much weaker. Still, though, I do think that a tropical storm is going to be likely. We're looking at a developing tropical depression, but getting up to a tropical storm, even a severe tropical storm, is very possible for Guam and much of the Mariana Islands going through the early part of next week. So definitely you want to stay tuned here at westernpacificweather.com. Continue to watch out for this. If it depends on what side of this island tracks on as well, who's going to get the worst of it. But right now, I think that going through the weekend and then to the early part of next week, and there's very high confidence at this point, you're going to be getting a tremendous amount of rain, and not just that, but also looking at some fairly gusty winds. And you do want to start getting ready and start battening down the hatches. At least at this time, you do want to get your typhoon kit ready, because last minute preparations always a pain, and Guam hasn't gotten hit by a pretty decent storm system in quite some time. So if this was to rapidly intensify, which I'm not saying it will, up to a typhoon intensity, you definitely could be caught off guard with it just lingering there. But I do think at this time it's going to be the rainfall. It's going to be lingering for an extended period of time, heavy rain, and some pretty gusty winds near the coast at the very least. So you don't want to go surfing. And if you have vacation plans, and I know a lot of people out of Japan, they vacation in Guam, it's probably not the best time of year to do so. So that is all for right now, everybody. Once again, I did mention the showers in western Japan. That is going to be pumping in some warm air, some showers, light showers across much of western Japan over towards central portions of the country into the coming days. But there is a warming trend in place. I do want to quickly talk about that. Tokyo getting up to Friday, it's high of 61 or 16 degrees Celsius. Unfortunately, that has bring the risk of avalanche. I think I might make a separate update on that, just quickly showing you those 3 slides for people that live across central portions of northeastern Asia, that is, at the very least. Okay, everybody, that is all for right now, everybody. Thanks again for watching here at westernpacificweather.com. We're going to continue to watch our tropical low moving over Guam. Once again, please do check our friends at On Cyclone Chasers for updates on that Coral Sea low, and also what's going to be happening over here towards Fiji into the coming days as well. All right, stay safe out there.